Good morning, dear children. Hope you all are doing well. Have you had your breakfast? Okay, very good. So, today we are going to learn a new poem. Before going to that, I would like to introduce you something. Are you excited? Isn't it? What is it? Yes, it's a camera. What's the purpose of camera? Yes, we can take photographs using camera. Okay, what do you feel when you saw a photograph? Isn't it? You may feel excited. Oh, that's great. You may feel excited, you may feel happy. Sometimes you may feel sad too, isn't it? It may depends upon the situation or the people included in that photograph, isn't it? Okay, very good. Have you ever read any kind of poems or stories which is related to photographs or incidents related to the past? Which one? Oh, Grandmother's House. It's a poem, right? Yeah, Grandmother's House was a poem written by Kamala Das. It was a thought-provoking poem which shared the nostalgic memories of the poet during her childhood days while she visited to her grandmother's house, isn't it? Yes, it's a beautiful poem. Okay, today we are going to learn a new poem named A Photograph written by Shirley Toulson. So before going to that poem, I would like to introduce you Shirley Toulson. Shirley Toulson was a poet, writer, journalist and local politician. She also served as an auxiliary military force during the Second World War. Hope you are clear about Shirley Toulson. While we move on to our poem, it was a thought-provoking poem which have lots of poetic features included in it. First of all, I will read it. You listen carefully. Okay. A photograph, Shirley Toulson. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hand, and she, the big girl, some 12 years or so, all three stood still to smile through their hair. At the uncle with the camera, a sweet face, my mother's that before I was born. And the sea which appears to have changeless, washed their terribly transient feet. Some 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they dress up for the beach. The sea holiday was her past, mine is her laughter. Both ride with the labored ease of laws. And now she's been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived, and of the circumstance there is nothing to say at all. It silences. So, what you feel while I recite the poem? Yes, to our mind, so many themes were moving, isn't it? Memories, nostalgia, past, sorrow, and so on, isn't it? So, from the initial reading, we can understand, from the initial reading onwards, we can understand that it was about a beloved one, isn't it? It was about a beloved one, and the beloved one here was poet's mother, isn't it? As we all know that motherhood was a universal theme, isn't it? A mother's love, a mother's memory, which always keep in touch in our mind, isn't it? Like that manner, here the poet shares her memories while seeing a photograph of her mother's childhood. Okay, I will explain the poem. So in the initial stanza, the poet tried to describe about a photograph. So in that photograph, she was trying to explain about her mother when she was a child. So the poet uses the term cardboard and transient, which try to emphasize the temporary and fragility nature of life, human life. So the poet reflects her mother's smile in the photograph and contrasts it with her current state. This evokes a sense of nostalgia among the readers. And in the ending portion, the last stanza captures the poet's feeling of loss and how the photograph serves as a painful reminder of her mother's absence. So it was a short poem. So from each line we can understand that through the poem the poet tried to convey about the memories of her mother, isn't it? So according to the poet, she still think about her mother, so which was a painful memory for her, because her mother was no more. So while she saw her mother's photograph during childhood, she imagined the pleasant face of her mother, the enjoying memories, and so on. And later, the poet uses so many poetic devices, etc., to make beauty to the poem while we read, and it revokes a sense of nostalgia and loss among ourselves while we read the poem. And the poet can conclude the poem with the feeling of loss and how the photograph sends as a painful memory or a painful reminder in her life, or in her mind. Okay, altogether a photograph is a thought-provoking poem about the poet's mother. Okay, then in the poem there are in the poem the poet uses so many poetic devices. I hope you all are familiar with the poetic devices. Tell me any of some poetic devices. Yes, simile, metaphor, then personification, imagery. Okay, very good, fine. So here in this poem also the poet uses so many poetic devices which include imagery, metaphor, personification, alliteration, etc. Okay, the first poetic device that we can identify from the poem was metaphor. And do you know what is metaphor? Yes, comparison of two unlike things. And what is simile? It was also comparison of two things which with the use of like or as, isn't it? In metaphor we don't use like or as, isn't it? Okay, then here the one of the major poetic device used in the poem was imagery. Imagery means through imagery the poet tried to give a clear-cut image of the vivid and descriptive language to create pictures in our mind, reader's mind. Okay, so in the line, the cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins paddling. So through the cardboard photograph, it create a visual image in our mind, isn't it? While we read the stanza, while we read that line, the cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins paddling. That image came to our mind, isn't it? Her mother and cousins paddling with us. In the sea, that image came to our mind. So imagery is basically used to create a vivid image or picture in the reader's mind. Okay, so it was the imagery used in the poem. Then the another one is I said earlier, metaphor. Metaphor is a figure of speech which used to compare two unlike things without using like or as, isn't it? In the poem, a sweet face by mother, a sweet face my mother's, isn't it? Here, Paul refers to her mother's face in the photographs as sweet, implying innocence and youth in her mother's face. So, metaphor, a sweet face, my mother's. A sweet face is a metaphor used to compare her mother's face, isn't it? Okay, then another poetic device used in the poem was alliteration. Alliterations means repetition of same consonant sound at the nearby beginning of nearby words. Here in labored laws, we can identify that same consonant sounds in the beginning of two words, nearby words. Okay, then the another poetic device used in the poem was personification. What do we mean by personification? Giving human characteristics, isn't it? Giving human characteristics to non-human things. In the line, the sea which appears to have changed less. In that line, the sea is given a human ability to change, isn't it? As I said in the earlier portion, our life, human life, was non-predictable. It may change according to situation. It was not stable. So that kind of characteristics was given to through the lines. So it was personification. The C is given the human ability to change, which contrasts the significant changes in human life. It tried to explore the significant changes occurred in human life, emphasizing the constancy of nature compared to human mortality. Okay, fine. These all are the main poetic devices used in the poem. Okay, altogether we can conclude that a photograph is a beautiful, thought-provoking poem written by Shirley Toulson. In the poem, the poet uses various poetic devices like imagery, metaphor, alliteration, personification, etc. to make the poem more beautiful while we read, and it deals with the universal theme, motherhood, mother's love, or the feeling of that emotion, etc. Very beautifully. Hope you all understand the poem. Thank you.